This is interesting. Hold on. What do we have here? So we've got some more information here. Thank you for letting me know about that. So there is an actual document that was translated here. I don't think anybody's taken a look at this, but your boy Andrew is going to take a look at this. I don't think anybody else has looked at this. Thank you so much for that. Look at that. Hammett coming through. Thank you, Hammett, for the info. Appreciate you, brother. Getting my legal eye on this. Good job there. H in the chat for Hammett. That's a good one. That's a definite W. Appreciate you. So we've got a translated document here from Cover Corp. This is March 12th, right? So this is a new document, right? Notice on establishment and launch date of the local base. So, okay, this is clear. It is actually a local location, right? If they put base here, like this is a physical location. Obviously, the representative, Motokai Tanigo, is the CEO. The contact is Yosuke Kaneko, who's executive officer and CFO. Cover Corporation, hereinafter referred to as the company, very typical, very legal, continues to prepare for an operational launch of a local base to pursue global expansion. As one of our local bases, we have come to expect it to launch operations. Reason for establishing. So this is kind of the same ones they gave here. So Hololive production operated by the company currently operates a total of 6 VTuber groups in Japan, Indonesia, and English-speaking countries. In particular, our English-speaking groups have been becoming aware of growing momentum in our overseas markets, such as English-speaking countries, while appearing at an increasing number of overseas local events. This was in addition to a local live event in July of 2023 and debuting new English-speaking units in September 2023 and November after Japan moderated its COVID-19 counter-infection measures the same year. Oh, dear sweet G. Talk about triggering language, guys. I was on the front line of that, particularly in California. That was a nightmare. But anyways, never mind that. In engaging our operations from the next year onward in the situation, we will think it is important to develop a business environment in which our content localized in areas and to pursue sales activities across the world, including Japan. This is rather than supplying content from Japan to overseas. Cover USA was initially established as part of our efforts to conduct on-site research and facilitate transactions. The company has been preparing to launch operations, including dispatching personnel to the region, in order to widen its activity scope as a local sales base that addresses the already large North American market. We recently moved closer to completing the preparations for dispatching personnel to the head office. So we now expect to start official operations in the second quarter of fiscal year March 2025. There it is, guys. We got a date. So they will be operating there from March 2025. That's pretty big. So 1 year from now. So this is a big one. Right? Second quarter fiscal year. Oh, it's ending. Sorry. I'm wrong here. I read this wrong. Second quarter of the fiscal year. So their fiscal year runs on a different calendar. So this is something that's very common for corporations where a fiscal year will run contrary to your typical calendar. So many times a fiscal year starts in September. So fiscal years are usually 3 quarters. Right, so 3. So 3 months from March is what? Let's do it. So March, April, May. That's for first quarter. Second quarter would be June, July, August. Right. So somewhere June, July, August. Right, because if the fiscal year that ends in March of next year, that would be somewhere June, July, August. So somewhere in that range. Right. Somewhere in that range. So yeah. Yes, I know 4 quarters. Yes. My lawyer, guys, I'm a lawyer, okay? I'm a lawyer. Listen, you guys gotta be patient with me. You guys gotta.
Yeah, right. Explain this to me like I'm retarded.
That won't be that hard.
Really, guys, you gotta be patient with me. Be patient with me. Okay. Go forward. We plan to use Cover USA to set up. By the way, shout out to Gator who took he gave me a clip that took the volume down on that. So litigators in the chat. Drop some litigator emojis in for Gator who edited that clip to make it less ear numbing. Going forward, we plan to use Cover USA to set up our English-speaking country. So what does this mean? Set up activities. To me, this means contracts. So the contracts will run out of that branch. That would make sense for me, right? Thank you, guys, dropping those gators. Member-only emoji. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you, thank you. And expand the business structure of our local bases in accordance with the developments. So here we go. Outline of the base. Oh, here it is, guys. They said it. Cali. Oh, boy. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll get to my comments on this in a second. Okay. All right. Principal business is operations related to VTuber business in the USA. Capital, whoa, they're going to put about $1 million into it. Establishment in April of 2023. Date to start second quarter. Plan to be wholly owned by the company. So this is not going to be something that is a partnership or anything else. This is probably, guys, this is probably a legal disclosure, or rather an SEC disclosure, Japanese SEC disclosure. They probably had to disclose this as part of their corporate filings. So that's why we got this. Awesome. I love publicly traded companies. There's no future outlook. There is no significant matter affecting the business results for the fiscal year of March 2024, and we made no revision to the forecasted business results for the year announced in February 8th. Well, at least they didn't use the word negligible. They said the word negligible. Okay, so let me talk about this. Now, somebody was worried about the woke stuff, and let me just tell you guys, so let me comment on that previous super chat. The general business environment of America, and particularly corporate America, it tends to be pretty homogenous, having been in corporate America. So as whatever the corporate culture in the US changes, I imagine the subsidiary would kind of drift along with that. You guys can read into that however you want to read into that. However, the most corporations go is how they go. That's why all corporations tend to do the same sort of activities. For example, if it's a certain type of month, they all put up supportive messages for whatever month it is, because that's what corporations do. They just kind of go along, right? And most of the time, by the way, it's just lip service, it's just mouth service, whatever else. But the bigger thing is not politics. It's really not politics at all. It's the level of regulation and the level of taxes. So the one problem with California is it is very expensive to set up a business there. And when you set up a business in California, you are under very intense labor laws, very strict labor regulations. You have to follow things like we showed you, where you have to submit the labor contract to the labor board. So all of these contracts are going to have to go by the labor board in California. That's going to be a lot more process. If they were in, I don't know, my home state of Florida or Texas or Alabama or Nevada or Utah, they wouldn't have to do exactly the same thing. They're in North Dakota. They wouldn't have to do the same thing. You guys can figure out whether you think that's for better or for worse. We can debate on that, right? I tend to think more business regulation makes it harder for people to do business, and it tends to drive small businesses out of business. But Cover is not a small business. Cover is a large business. So typically large businesses can bear the burden of regulation and can bear the burden of these restrictions. It's relatively easy for them to hire lawyers to figure it out, to get it done. It's much harder for small businesses and medium-sized businesses to get started in a state like California. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to penetrate that market. So that's what I have a concern about California. Now, I understand why they would do it there. Because, well, a lot of the conventions are in LA or in San Francisco. It's a very easy flight from Asia. California has a huge advantage of the flight from Japan to California. That's the reason why a lot of the diaspora was there to begin with, is because it's a one-stop flight, right, from Japan to California. If you were going to, let's say, I don't know, Tennessee, right? There's no direct Nashville to Narita, right? That doesn't exist. There is a direct from Narita to LA, or Haneda even, I think. And I think Haneda's got us direct to LA as well. I prefer to fly into Haneda. Always fly into Haneda. Always, if you can. Always. But I can see why they're doing it. So I can see why they would go there. And here's another thing I can say too. Understand that as a company grows, typically what they will do is they will expand beyond their initial place. So they may start in California, but they may end up moving their headquarters. They may say, you know what? We've got a lot of folks that are like in the center of the country, right? So we might go relocate to Houston, right? We may relocate to Dallas, wherever. They may relocate to Salt Lake City. I don't know. I mean, somewhere else. It's possible, right? So just because they start in California doesn't mean they necessarily will end there. But that's just my comments on that overall. Let's continue with the stuff here the other day. I want to get through all of this before we get to the pretty hilarious clip here, as well as the Scarl stuff. It's crazy how LM covered the other day about having a local headquarters and Cover announces theirs. It's just timely, guys. And once again, it shows you guys, look, I worked for a Fortune 500 company. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not somebody who doesn't know what I'm talking about here. I literally was corporate counsel. I've worked for large corporations. I know what they need to do. I know it can make a real change for corporations. So I knew this was happening. So that's why I said it, right? And it's just true. And it's my area of expertise. So that's why I am very passionate about it, because I can tell you when a corporation is acting in a bad way or a good way. Even if I can't precisely pin down the law, I can say, no, that's something they should be doing and that's something they should not be doing. Cryoside says, I've seen the filing for incorporation within California with an address. Have you seen it? I think that's what we just looked at. CJ Max says, thank you for the stream. Just sent you a clip for stream reaction. Might be appropriate. Okay, I will check it out after. Thank you so much. Victory says Yagoo is pronounced more like Yago. Oh, Yago? Yago? Yago. Like Yago. Really? Really? Okay. I kind of like Yagoo, but Yago. Okay. Yago. Fine. 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 Yago. I don't like the goo though. The goo sounds pretty baller. I'm not going to lie.